Hi folks, we have a new game this week. Actually, we have several in the last week or so, but this one is a new one. Miss Katie's trying to cover up as much of the top as she can.
Why?
At least she's only a knuckle dragger. She does not have big hands. And some of the noise you will hear here is we've got Black Man version 2.0. We also squirt. We have Hunter, our golden retriever, and the Holly Jolly Collie who's laying back of me. So what game do we have today?
Ebb Flow.
Who is it by?
Compass Games.
And what magazine is it?
Paper Wars.
Who used to own Paper Wars that we knew in Florida?
His name is
Joyce
and Bill.
Joyce and Bill Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Bill died.
Bill died several years ago.
Bill's died almost, I think, a decade ago now. Yeah, he did a.
He did a face plant.
He did a face plant. Just had a massive coronary and.
Massive something, yeah.
Do you know what kind of tank that is on the front?
I'd be lying if I said I did.
We saw a bunch of them in the Ukraine on monuments.
I don't know.
It's a T-34-76. I don't know if they use T-34-76 or T-34-85s in Korea. I think it's T-34-85s, but not fully certain at the moment. But our family has a bit of a background in Korea. And who would that be, miss? Awful close and personal to you.
My dad.
Your daddy. Your daddy served as what in Korea?
He's a meteorologist.
He got recalled from his teaching job in Maryland.
He did.
Does World War II and then ends up in a recall. Who do we have on my side?
Your dad. He was Navy.
Not my father. Uncle.
Uncle Harold.
Uncle Earl.
Oh, Earl. That's right. I'm sorry.
Uncle Earl is...
And I know the background of Uncle Earl.
Right. For those who may not, as Uncle Earl, we came to discover years later after his death, had got 5 Bronze Stars with Valor in the Marine Corps as an infantryman. So much of a surprise. So, this is a new game. We're looking forward to it. Don't we always seem to look forward to new games? How can you not look forward to a new game? But I suppose there are folks who may not, or that it's drudgery work or such, but we're looking forward to this one. We will get to it after we do Monongahela, and after we also do, well, it's a teaching week, so tomorrow is grading. Oh, so we'll get to it. We want to thank Ty Bomba for it, and we also want to thank Compass Games, who usually don't send out review copies ever for this one as well. So, and folks, what is she supposed to do now?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, folks. Now it's my turn. Ebb Flow, Korea, April to June 1951. Here's the game map. The UN forces are down in this area and across it. Like the map? Well, it's green. And I'm trying to think where Camp Casey is. There should be a bit... If I knew where Camp Casey was, it would have to be somewhere with a black hole in the map. Because that's where Camp Casey was. So, not a bad map. It's got your tables here. Makes it very easy for this 11-turn game for a solitaire player because everything's at one place. Can't fuss about that. So, now let's start talking about the game, and Miss Katie will sort of recenter things here as I keep talking to you and move the map around and hopefully don't knock it over. Oh, those are always possible things that can happen here. So, like we said, Compass Game was kind enough to send it to us, just tilt the tripod, sweetie. It's not going to tilt the other way.
Okay. I thought I did pretty well.
So, counters.
Okay.
Standard counters. Notice everything green or red. And then the light blue is the rock units. They probably will die pretty fast. Now let's talk about the magazine. Because you'll want to know about the magazine. I've read the article already. It's a good, solid article. I found out I did not know as much about the Chinese 1951 spring, early summer, or late spring offensive, early spring, late spring offensive as I thought I did. And Korea games had habitually been games I weren't interested in. 2 games changed my mind. Korea, Race to Busan by Fast Play Game, and this one by Worthington, and it's Hold Fast Korea. Changed my mind about Korean games. So when I saw Paper Wars was publishing a Bomba game on Korea, well, we got all excited. We got very much excited about that. So, I was surprised to see, I don't know why I was surprised to see that Bomba or whoever had a picture of Marshall Pang in the game. Oh yeah, Squirt. There's Squirt. He's our kitty who showed up. Of Marshall Pang in it, who's one of the main characters in Jeff Scherer's fictional work called The Frozen Hours. The hexes that we showed on the map, 5 miles across, turns are 3 days apiece. Okay. At first you're saying, well, there are no setups, unit setups on the map. Allied/UN units all have, what do I want to call it, numbers on them. The Chinese have a basic line they set up above, 1 hex around it where they can set up, and the same with the North Korean. So the Chinese one is a little bit more fluid. Everything sets up full strength. So that makes it easy, except for the reinforcements that come on later. UN forces, like we said, have no flexibility in setup. The Chinese have a limited amount. There are graduated victory conditions for the game, but you lose Seoul or Incheon, that's an automatic loss. Automatic loss. And that makes sense because that would have cut off all the supply for this area. The UN losses matter, so you have to keep an eye on your losses. How do you do that? Well, what Bomba has been doing in some of his other games recently for Paper Wars with his 19th century ones is he has these organizational charts. Some are on the map, some are elsewhere. So you can track your losses, and the losses only matter when you get to the point where you lose an entire division. Or, in the case of the Commonwealth, if you lose a Commonwealth brigade, I think it's a brigade. So those are the way you track, but then you also have North Korean one, and you have Chinese ones. I figured out the attack factors in this game are 171 to 96. Well, that sounds like quite a bit of difference, but we know the dictum, it's 3 to 1. So how will that work? Well, I'll know when I find out the play. It is a standard Bomba sequence of play, either fight, move, or move, fight. There's a little bit more to it than that, but it's a move, fight, fight, move. US gets a replacement phase. The Chinese have what they get. Now, mind you, the Chinese lost 1 million folks here. Well, they lost somewhere about 125,000 killed and over 800,000 like 820 in wounded, and had about 20,000 surrendered and prisoners. So it's going to be a bloodbath for the Chinese. Stacking, Chinese can stack 3, UN can stack 2, but no cost for battalions. So you can put as many battalions in a thing as you want. Chinese and North Korean units cannot integrate together. That is, they can't stack together, they can't attack together. Well, that makes sense, because although they were nominally allies, they had their own agendas. Zones of control in this game are all encompassing. There's no breaks on terrain. And it's kind of a standard Bomba feature, but with many others. You enter a zone of control, you stop. You can move out of the zone of control, but the next hex has to be a free hex. Okay, that's kind of standard too. UN movement is 10 in good weather, 8 in overcast. Chinese and North Korean is just the opposite. It's 4 in good weather and 6 in overcast. And why would that be? Well, we would do one of the things Miss Katie's amused by me, and that's like, oh, air power. Air power forces the Chinese or the communist faction to the ground. It did very much in the Incheon invasion. It did even more so at Frozen Chosen. They would not move during the daylight hours. Okay. Communists get a 1-column shift in bad weather on the attack. Conversely, the UN get a 1 shift on the attack in good weather. Well, is that surprising? No. But here's a big combat differential. On the attack, the UN forces can decrease their losses by backing up, by retreating a hex. Easy thing that way. For the Chinese and North Koreans, you just have to lump it. You take all your losses at that time. There's no question. All your losses happen, and you have to take. There's no retreat for you. What I like best, and it took me 2 readings to get it, and it must be because I was in my class so long yesterday, Ty, and that's probably it, is the human wave attack, that you will always take a loss as the Chinese or North Koreans. That even if you had a 0 loss penalty, or 0 loss, you still will always have a 1-step loss regardless. And of course, these units are steps, as you can see by the organizational chart. Turn 4, as we called it back in my days in the Army when we were doing simulations, we do magic. We do magic. All the units get fixed. Everybody gets full strength again, and then nothing after that. Everybody gets fixed as long as they're eliminated in supply. If they're eliminated out of supply, no dice. You're dead. All this is very easy and makes a lot of sense in terms of things. Now, let's talk about books here. We always talk about books. These were ones that were both in the bibliography here and that Ty recommended to me when I asked him. The POA perspective, China's Battle for Korea, the 1951 Spring Offensive by Lee. Just came this week. Haven't had a chance to read it. The War for Korea, 1950, 1951, Alan Millett. Have not had a chance to read it. Yeah, there's Squirt. Squirt's just back here. And John Toland's Immortal Combat, which I think is the single best volume of the whole Korean War. And part of it's because of a friend of ours, Daddy, who what do I want to call it? Relieves somebody in combat, because he's the chief of staff of one of the divisions, and the division commander didn't have the courage to do it himself, so he sent Colonel Epley up to go do his dirty work. Kind of not a very brave sort of guy. So there you have it, folks. I think we're at short time today. We're doing well. We're looking forward to this. It's nice to get a game on a period of history that I don't know so much about, because it means then I have to order books, and I like ordering books, and I like reading books. So, there's also one book from CMH. It's a long sucker. You can download it. Ty sent me the download for it, but you can go up it for the U.S. Army Center of Military History, and it's called Ebb Flow. And it's by a gentleman who I don't know that he had required way prior to the time I was at CMH working on the 9/11 attack on the Pentagon. So as always, folks, we thank you. We hope you have a blessed day, and roll some dice tonight, because we're not watching the Super Bowl. Thanks, folks.